Hi everyone, welcome to the webinar. My name is Tim. I'm joined with my colleague Pascal. We are both from the product team of Involv, and we are going to show you some of the latest possibilities that we have since the release of Involv version 5.3.
Yes, that's correct.
Pascal, you're going to take the first part.
I'm going to start things by showing the new Involv Manager, but before I do that, I will actually show the old one. It will make it easier to compare things. So I'm going to share my screen like this. All right. This is actually product design. It's the environment that I will show in a minute. And this one is my own demo environment. And as you can see, this is the old Involv Manager that I think most of our clients actually know and use today. It does its job quite good, but we've actually made sure that it is in a new look and feel. We're using a new look and feel, and on this environment, I can show you guys how it actually looks today. We have done some rework on the look and feel of Involv in the couple of months that went before today, and today I can show you how the new manager looks. This is the new manager, which can be opened by clicking on the button on the left-hand side. And all the configuration options that you know from the old manager are still present, but we've actually regrouped some settings in new categories, like, for example, the page actions, the analytics center. But the most of your time, you will actually be using, for example, the managed content category, where you will be able to create news items, where you will be able to change news categories, for example. But, for example, it's also important to know that all your omni-channel stuff like the newsletter and sending out notifications is also present in the new Involv Manager. So if you are looking for the old property tagger, the old Involv Manager, it will be replaced by the new manager, where you will also be able to see what kind of issues there might be with Involv, or you will be able to have a quick link to the customer portal where you can see all the most videos and tutorials. Tim, if it's okay, then I'm going to show the content calendar. The content calendar can also be accessed via the Involv Manager. It's something that I, as a communication specialist, really like. You can access the content calendar via the Manage Content category. It was also introduced in the 5.2 release, but in the 5.3 release, we've actually made sure that there are new possibilities that you can use as a communication specialist, as an intranet admin. As you probably already know, the content calendar is the place where you can have an overview of all the news, events, notifications, and newsletters, for example, that you are creating in a draft, that you have sent out, or that has been scheduled. What we have actually added in the new 5.2 release is the possibility to use placeholders. And I've already created some placeholders over here, and over here. I do that by just simply clicking on the plus button or the plus sign on a day like this. I click on placeholder, and then I start by saying which kind of content I'm going to create. And for example, I'm going to create a news item. If I do that, I can give it a title, for example, news about energy, and I click create. Now I've actually created a slot that is reserved for me to create a news item in the future. I do not know what I want to write. I do not know which information I want to use to create the newsletter or the news item, which makes it difficult to create a draft. But everybody in the content team can see that this space on Wednesday the 4th has been reserved by me to publish a news item about energy. And if, for example, I want to start creating the news item for real, I can simply click on the item, click create, and based on the type of content that I want to create, in this case news, I will see the form which will make it easy for me to create the news item for real. The next thing I would like to show you is the review process that we have integrated inside of Involv. I think that one of the biggest pitfalls of every intranet is outdated information. That's why that as a global admin, a global intranet admin, you will be able to see inside of the Involv Manager which pages need to be reviewed by a specific date and by a specific person. How do we do that? We open the Involv Manager, we click on the Manage Content category, and then we choose for Content Overview. By clicking on the Content Overview page, you will be able to see in the Review tab which specific pages need to be reviewed, and by when, and by whom. If you want to create a new review date for a specific page, you can simply do that by clicking on the people icon, the person icon, next to an article. If I do this, I click on it, I will be able to say who needs to review it. For example, I need to review it. And then I am able to say when it needs to be reviewed. If I choose for a review date that is within the next 7 days, I will receive a notification inside of my notification center. But of course, normally it will be a date that is further due in the future. For example, the 28th of May. I fill in my information, I click on save, and the review date for this specific article has been set. Now, if I go to a page that I need to review, and like I said, I will be able to see it in the notification center, I will choose this one, for example. It's a page that I need to review. I will also have the possibility to click on a button which is called review. And when I do that, I can click on mark as reviewed to say that I have done my job and that this page has been reviewed. Something small that we have added is actually the possibility to add a call to action banner to the navigation. How does it look? Well, quite easy to show you guys. I will open up the departments menu part of the mega menu, and as you can see over here, there is a call to action banner that we have integrated in the departments section. We can choose to add different call to action banners to different subsections of your mega menu. For example, if I hover on the who is who menu part, you will see that there is another call to action integrated in the mega menu. How did I do that? It's quite easy, actually. I just go to the Involv Manager and I want to configure my navigation. I can do that in the configuration section. And I visit the navigation page. And when I do that, I have the option to create a call to action next to the subsection I want to highlight via a call to action. So for example, the onboarding part, if I click on the plus button over here, I will have the same options like you have when you create a call to action banner on your page. It is also, of course, possible to hide a specific call to action banner that you have created in the past. And you can do that by opening up the call to action banner that has been chosen, for example, over here in the who is who part. And just by unclicking the call to action that had been selected and clicking on save, I will hide the selected call to action. Cool. And while we're talking about navigation, something that's actually also linked or related to the navigation, we have created the possibility to create a footer inside of your intranet. So if I scroll down, I will be able to show you that over here, we have created a very simple footer. And of course, I hear you think now, SharePoint does have its own footer, doesn't it? And yes, it does. But what we have created is actually a possibility to create footers just the way you want them to look. Because if you want a very graphical, a very design-heavy footer, we have the option to create such a footer. Because this footer is based on an HTML file, and this gives us the option to create the footer you want to. It has some additional benefits over the SharePoint footer, because this footer, for example, you can choose to have it integrated on every page across every intranet site, or you have the option to choose for a different footer for every different subsite of your intranet. On top of that, this also supports multilingual intranets. When you have an intranet that supports French, English, and Dutch, for example, this footer will show the information based on the language your end user is using. In the 5.2 release, we've introduced our own community solution. The social feed Involv has created is an answer or an alternative, if you will, to Viva Engage. Our social feed is integrated with everything that we do, so it's easier for us to show it, for example, in the mobile app. But in the 5.2 release, we have actually created new possibilities for our own social feed solution. So what did we create? Actually, we've created the option to use multiple communities. So for example, you will be able to see that over here, the Tim Bogemans user is a user that has access to 3 communities: the Involv community, the IT community, and the Strategy 2030 community. By using these buttons, I'm able to filter my social feed based on those communities. For example, now I've clicked on Involv and I'm only highlighting the Involv community information. It is quite easy also to make sure that somebody can gain access to a community or even leave a specific community. And that is done, for example, over here on the second tab. When I click on the second tab, I will have an overview of all the communities that are available. I will immediately be able to see if the community is public, if I can join it without asking a community admin for access, or if the community is private. If the community is private and if I ask to be to join the community, a specific admin will have to give me access to this community. If I'm a member of the community, I can, of course, also leave the community by just clicking on leave. By clicking on the button Go to Community, I will be able to visit the specific community that has been created, and that is actually also a SharePoint site that I can create as I want it to be created. Of course, this is all access-based, so this user, Tim, has access to 3 communities, as you can see, and you can also see it in my overview that I'm a member of all 3 communities. But if I use, for example, the Emma account, and if I visit the same page, which I will do over here, but as you can see, Emma only has access to the Involv and IT community. If I show the overview, you will see that she is not a member of the community 2030 over here. If she wants to join the community, she has to click on Join Community. An invite will be sent to the admin, and when the admin has given green light, she will also be able to access the community Strategy 2030 community.
Okay, thank you, Pascal. I'm going to talk a little bit about AI in the latest 2 versions of version 5.2 and 5.3. We introduced actually the ability to use search with AI, where you can have generated summary results based on AI, also being able to use predefined queries and suggestions, and the use of reprompting, where you can, based on those summaries, click on a button and get better results. For being able to use this, you will need to have a separate AI deployment on your tenant. And this is based on the OpenAI GPT models. Once this is done and the AI is configured, you can use the possibilities since 5.3 with AI. How does it look like? In my screen, you see here the option to have the general search. And when you have AI enabled, you will see a second button here called AI Assisted. And if you click this, you will get the predefined search queries. Those are based on people and on pages and documents. So for example, if we want to use the people predefined query, we can say, who can help me out with some sales documents? If you click it, then in the live menu, he will show you the results based on the query and give you the AI summaries. So we just need to give it a little bit of time, and then the AI will kick in and he will generate the summary based on pages and based on people. So if you look at these results, you will see that he has created a general summary, but also people summary. So for who can help me out with some sales documents, he found 3 people, and you can also use the buttons here called reprompting. For example, if you want to do this, then you will retake the query and give extra results based on that. For the second part of AI, we go to web part. It's the general who is who, where we want to use AI for finding people faster. So if you see here, the Enable AI assistant is also available on the Who is Who. And if you click on the search query box here, you see that you have some predefined AI prompts which you can use. Those are the same as in the general live search. So if you take the same query, who can help me out with some sales documents, and we let some time go to get to AI, you will see that it will also generate results, but also create a nice textable summary and the reprompting. So you have the same options as on the live menu. Voilà. And if we then, for example, change, you can see that he will change the suggestions that you type. For example, works in the IT support, I can click on this, and then he will look into the contextual query for IT and support, and normally you should have results like the people that are working in IT. Okay, the second thing I want to talk to you about is actually by clicking on this page on, for example, a profile. Let's say I want to go to the result Tim Bogemans. I click on it. Then you will see that in the Involv profile since 5.3, we have introduced a new layout for the profile page. It has some nice things, not only visual, but also for my team. If, for example, I go to the profile of Mike and I let the profile run, then you will see that you can go up into the stream. It will only show you your current level of organizational level, but also your manager, but not the manager of your manager. For being able to see this, you can just click the button here, show manager, and then you will move up into the chain of the org chart. There are quite some few things that have changed for this template, and I can show you this by going into the Edit My Profile. If I click on My Edit Profile through the user menu, then you will see that you have the same visual options, but it's now easier to see the things that you have changed. So for example, if I want to change something about me, I can just click it, and then you will see visually that it has been changed correctly. Same goes actually for the skills or for the birthday. So if I want to just type an extra skill and I say demo, I click enter, then it now works by accepting the enter and directly visually saying that it has been correctly saved. And the same is actually for the birthday. So you want to change the birthday, which you normally wouldn't do, but for purpose of the demo, this is something that you can see that this is giving you a nice visual feedback that everything is saved correctly. Okay, so go over for the third part of my talk, which is about Involv Cast. The Involv Cast is our digital signage solution where you can have content that you create on the internet, and you're able to show it on larger screens in entry halls or factory halls. In the digital signage solution, you can show incidents, but also latest news, upcoming birthdays, events, and stuff that you create yourself. What has been changed since the latest version of 5.3 is actually it has been completely rewritten in the backend. We have a new authentication system. So, for example, if you go to a large TV screen, then you need to create a URL, but for now, you can have like a QR code and authenticate immediately on the screen, which wasn't possible before. We also shortened the URLs, and we also added some sequences into the page. This means that you can now not only create one page on the TV screen, but you can create multiple pages that you create yourself and have a carousel that goes through the different pages on the screen. Also, content refresh is being implemented. This means that you don't have any static page anymore, and you're relying on the reload of the TV screen. It's now built into the solution that it automatically refreshes every time again, which is configurable by you. How do you do this? You go to the Involv Manager, and then you go to configuration, no, manage content. Then you click on the cast. Then I'm going to show you some of the latest additions. For example, if you want to duplicate an already existing configuration, you can do that. You can now just click duplicate, and then it will create a second one. Okay. Let's take the first one again. In here, you will see that you now have multiple pages. One is of the page type full screen, and one is of the page type build your own. These pages can be drag and drop if you want to change the order, or if you want to create a new one, you can just do it like this. Same options apply as before. So if you edit on the pencil icon the full screen, you have the same query settings, you have the same options that you can choose, but we've added birthdays, recent hires, and events. Nothing changes for this. Like I talked in the beginning here, you can set up the refresh interval and the interval between the screens. You can do that by going to the general configuration settings. And in this screen, we added refresh interval and interval between screens. So at this point, the refresh interval is set to 30 minutes, which means that the page will automatically refresh every 30 minutes. So if you created new content in a timing of 30 minutes, then it will be added to the page automatically. The interval between screens is between the page sequences. So at this point, every 1 minute, it will change from page 1 to 2 to 3 and back to 1. If you want to see this in action, you can just click the show preview, and then it will show you what I've set up as a full screen. But to show you how the new authentication system works, I will click the URL. I will open a new browser tab, and this will generate a new session. So I will be able to generate a QR code and authenticate with my mobile phone. So let's do that. You see the new QR code. You can do it. You can authenticate with the URL here by going to the device logging and then entering this code, or you can scan it with your mobile device, which is easy because you have it with you when you install larger screens. So let me do this. Just going to go on my mobile phone to Google and click on the QR code. It gives me a page. It asked for me to add the code, so I will need to do that. So give me a second. Voila, the code is filled in. Choosing my account, authenticating, and I get a approved, and well, there it is. So at this point, you will see the Involv Cast on a TV screen. So you will only need to do this once. Okay, and then for the last part, I can mention that besides all the highlights that we have have looked through in this webinar. There are some other minor improvements. For example, for the welcome tour functionality, we have made this fully multilingual. This means that you can use the welcome tour for intranets where people have multiple language and have different setups, multilingual setups to use a welcome tour. But also the incidents web part has now have a full width section, making it easier to integrate in multiple scenarios. I also invite you to look into the roadmap and the release notes for the version 5.3. You can always find them if you go to the Involv Manager to the website here, and then go straight to the bottom, click on the roadmap, and there you will find our latest video, but also the highlights and the other improvements and fixes that are also interesting to know. Okay, Pascal, then I think this is the end of the webinar. Just going to stop sharing my screen and say some thank words. Thank you all for looking into this webinar. Like always, if you have any questions about Involv, do reach out with the support. They're there to help you, but also look into the Involv knowledge base, because this contains all the quick answers and tutorials that you need to use and configure Involv. And also the roadmap page I already showed, you can find all the improvements for all the versions that we did in the past and the upcoming new features. Thank you.